What is up? It is me. It is I. I am the greatest there is, the greatest there was, and the greatest there ever will be. I am greatness personified myself. Yes, yes, yes. So the greatness. And I am here with the man of the hour, the myth, the legend, the author, the activist, the philanthropist, the educator, the innovator, the empowerer,
the doggy daddy,
the conqueror, the enchantress.
That's a female pronoun. Enchanter.
Enchantress. They're all inclusive here.
Wonderful way to start the day.
So show some respect and bend the knee, because they come from all across the world to see the man who wears the crown that hangs 2 inches from the ground. Yes, he is your king. He is my king. He is King Kevyn.
Oh, stop. You're all too kind. No, keep going. It's okay. It's just one of those days. What's up, everybody? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another great episode of the GreatMines Show. He gave you guys the best introduction ever.
That's what I do.
Every time. I feel like I should actually walk into the frame the way he hypes me up like it's a wrestling match or something. Have like a belt on, no shirt, and just like, yeah, something like that.
Although people would be like, belt on, no pants, but I'm just telling you what the people would want to see.
Don't nobody want to see that.
While the lights are on.
Anyway, we got a good show for you guys tonight, so let's jump into it.
Right. So
I'm not lit, but I feel good.
So we are going to be discussing, of course, our wide variety of topics.
Of course.
And so you know that we're certified geeks here. And if you're watching, you probably have a little geek in you, or you've had a little geek in you.
Or you've had a big geek in you.
Yeah, maybe. All right. So anyway, we're all geeks here. And one of the things that us geeks like is we are really into the whole MCU. We've reported on it here many a times. We've discussed it here many a times. So we're gonna take a trip to the MCU here to discuss some things. And mainly it's a topic that has been kind of been like, I would say, like a subcurrent.
Yeah.
In a lot of the social media and a lot of the YouTube coverage, because King Kevyn and I, we both watch, a lot of YouTubers who cover the MCU and all of the MCU shows. And we're going to talk about like a sort of an undercurrent that has been flowing through a lot of it. And what we're getting at is there's been some backlash to the way that the MCU has been presenting a lot of
Phase 4
superheroes and telling the story. In other words, there's some backlash to the story that the MCU is currently trying to tell. And what we mean by backlash to the story is the fact that a lot more heroes of color are at the forefront. A lot more female heroes are at the forefront. And one thing that we've noticed, is that there has been a lot of backlash from a lot of the mainstream and popular, bloggers, vloggers.
Which is interesting because
to this,
throughout the first 3 phases of the MCU, you just got, good coverage because everyone, the Avengers, who doesn't like the Avengers, from Tony Stark to Thor to even Hawkeye for that matter, we all enjoyed the Avengers. And then as we move to phase 4, Marvel seems to have put their focus on a lot of female characters and representing a lot of different ethnicities as well. Like we have Miss Marvel, who's a Pakistani, the first Muslim character in Marvel Comics and in the MCU. Obviously, they're doing stuff with Miss Marvel. They have the whole WandaVision thing. Even though it was a Hawkeye show, it was more about him passing on to Kate Bishop. So they're like having all of these strong female characters coming to the forefront. Most importantly, most recently is She-Hulk, which specifically and directly talks about being a woman in a man's world. And in the real world, some of these people that I've watched, well, honestly, for me, it's just one person. I'm not going to mention her name, but one of the people that I watched to do the coverage very blatantly said, Marvel's getting away from the men. We want the macho, masculine testosterone. Not all of these women.
Which, is not at all an inclusive, type of thought pattern there. I like I said, I think it's a backlash, and Stoney, I'm going to be I like to cause ripples, toss me into the pot, I'm going to cause some ripples. So, I'm going to cause some ripples. And honestly, it is a lot. I call it like it is. Spade is a spade. And the truth of the matter is, calling it like it is mainly coming from a lot of white male geeks and white male fans of the MCU who are like, hey, where's all the other guys, mainly the white guys like Hulk and Iron Man, who's dead, and all these other folks. And so I think that there's a problem there, a deeper problem there that, is fueling this backlash or blacklash, whichever one you want to call it.
Blacklash? Well, it's not just blacklash because a lot of the women in the MCU aren't black. Most of them aren't. So it's just like this misogynistic, big type of world that we live in. And it sucks because it bleeds into things that comic books were, especially Marvel Comics, was kind of like created to support all cultures, to support the civil rights movement. So for anyone to take that and be upset that it's inclusive when it was built upon being inclusive, it's kind of like it shows you the issues that we're really facing today.
Right. It is very disturbing, in part because there are other people who are fans, you know what I mean, and who like comic books.
Right.
And for people to demand just the stereotypical is a little bit short-sighted. It's also not very interesting, and if you aren't like, no matter how you feel, all of the stories that Marvel and credit to the MCU, the writers there, Kevin Feige at the top, you know what I mean, making sure that each story that they tell resonates. You know what I mean? Like, You can look at every single show, every single movie, it resonates to a human, a human emotion.
Right.
Something that we can all, regardless of race, where you come from, who you are, regardless of it, there are feelings that they sowed within every story in the MCU that we can all jive with. You know what I mean? And it's on both sides, whether it's the villains or the
absolutely
or the heroes, but there are genuine human emotions that we can connect
with. It almost comes across even like there are no real villains. It's just misunderstood people, in the MCU,
and they're just go a little bit overboard,
or a lot of bit overboard.
But
and that's not every character, but there are a lot of those types of characters. And that just drives home the point that what Marvel tries to do is give you a full scope from as many aspects and perspectives as possible.
Right. And it's, I think that if you are missing those feelings and those feelings that they have planted in there, as well as the allegories, for our everyday life, if you are missing that, then you genuinely are the problem. You genuinely are the problem, because you can't necessarily look at yourself in the mirror and recognize your faults. And I think that that is a quality that not a lot of people have on this planet. All right. And we suffer for it, because I think the most that anyone can grow is in those moments where you look yourself in the mirror and recognize that, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, if you're not intelligent. Okay. It's okay to act like you are, you know what I mean? But if you recognize the fact that you're not as smart as you think you are, then you're making progress. All right.
Step one.
Because not a lot of people can admit their faults and their weaknesses. And I think that you're the problem if you have an issue with facing, the way that Marvel allows us to face those particular issues, that we have in our society, and face those particular feelings that we may find difficult. I think that you are a problem if you can't, suspend your reality, but also, be in tune with what is being, presented to you and everything.
Because they always take a very human approach with all of the stories. I mean, even the fantastical ones, they still get to the heart.
Like, I'm not a woman, but there are plenty of times where I felt like Jen Walters did dating. Like, people aren't necessarily interested in me. I have to put on a show, in order for people to want to date me. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm speaking a lot, like we've all felt that. We've all felt that in life. So you can't tell me that that there's nothing about She-Hulk that doesn't click with you. We've all had to fight for our family. You know what I mean? And we've all felt a need to stand up for, like our principles. So you can't tell me that Miss Marvel didn't speak to you. Okay?
Right.
Because that's what that was an underlying theme in that particular show.
I feel like that's the sneaky way of doing it. It's like showing you through the eyes of someone that you see is different than you. When I was creating Mama's Boy, that was something that we said a lot during the creation of it. It's like I wanted people to see that the things that gay relationships go through, what straight relationships go through is the same as what gay relationships go through. We're just as human. And we go through the same trials. We have the same feelings and just like it was related to something that's gay with Mama's Boy, but in this situation, it's like we all come from different ethnicities and cultures, but we all have human issues, and that's the issue. And I kudos to Marvel for always keeping that door open to tell stories from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm. And to all you folks out there who, and especially all you vloggers, bloggers, because we're speaking to our fellow brethren out there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, get off your high horse. Let go of your white insecurities, okay, and your misogynistic insecurities, okay. Let go, all right, because all the rest of the Marvel fans over here,
we're gonna still support.
We don't care. All right, we're
die hard.
Yeah, and and hey,
if Marvel had a beehive, we would be it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would definitely be a part of the Marvel beehive.
Yes.
So, but yeah, just let it go, and everybody, and I want everybody out there to give, like I said, give it a chance. Okay, give She-Hulk a chance, give Moon Knight a chance, give all these are great, excellent shows, and they all deserve to be watched. So make sure you're watching them. support the MCU and show these folks that their
Right.
opinions really don't matter because we want to see other superheroes.
And while y'all at it, recast T'Challa.
Yes, recast T'Challa.
All right.
Moving on to some gossip.
We love gossip.
We love the drama.
I say that from my heart. We
Mhm.
love the gossip.
So we let this particular story marinate for a little bit, or at least I did, because this is normally my area. Because again, bringing in a sports story, Jock Time, yeah.
What are we talking about now?
So we are going to be discussing the cheating scandal. So it runs in two lanes because it incorporates sports, but it also incorporates
So
black gossip.
Here's my issue, because I thought about this topic as we were talking about it before we started recording. Are we recording or are we live? Before we went live.
Yeah,
that's what I meant to say.
I think we're live. I don't know. I've had some of the wacky tobacco today. So
one way or another, before we started the show, we were talking about this particular story, and in my head, I'm thinking about how there's a double standard. And I'm kind of like telling the story before. But my stance on this double standard would be kind of like pro-man as opposed to the pro-woman situation. But I think with context, once we tell you what the story is about, then because again, it's such a double standard, and I'm in all support for women's rights, for equality amongst women as well as gays and everybody.
And we're all for the good treatment of women as well as men. Whomever you're in a relationship with, treat them well.
Right. The gender of the person should not dictate how you treat them
or how you react to their particular situation.
Because in this situation,
getting into it, for those of you that may not know, and I mentioned some buzzwords, so you probably already figured it out. We're going to be discussing the cheating scandal involving Boston Celtics head coach Ime Udoka and
he made a what?
Ime Udoka, all right, and he is the head coach of the Boston Celtics, as I said. But what makes this, kind of gossipy is that he is engaged to Nia Long. Okay, so the story broke a few weeks ago, or about a month ago, that Ime Udoka was having an affair with a team employee.
Yeah.
And he has subsequently been suspended. So right now he is suspended for the entire season.
Wow.
And can't be the coach. But that came, of course, after his affair with the team employee came to light. So he's been romantically linked to Nia Long since before 2011. Okay. In 2015 they got engaged, but they haven't been married yet, but they've been engaged since 2015.
And they also have a son?
Yes, they also have a son who was born in 2011. So he's what is it? It's 2022 now. So yeah, he's around 11. He's around 11 years old, 12 years old. So they have a son. Well, it came out that Ime Udoka was having an affair with a consensual affair, and that's the one thing that it's always been portrayed as, is that it was a consensual affair with a team employee. This team employee came out that this team employee used to make travel arrangements for the team. She even made travel arrangements for Nia Long, right, on a few times. So the latest report, and this is where's my source? This is via Sports Rush and their website, and this has been also reported by other news outlets, so you can go and check it out as well. But the latest allegation is that Udoka was in an open relationship with Nia Long.
That sounds familiar.
They also claimed that Udoka is a serial offender, so he's a hoe, is what they're saying, and regularly indulges in affairs with other women. There is even a report out there that he even slept with the wife of the minority owner of
God,
the Boston Celtics. So,
jeez,
yeah, juicy, right? So, a lot of folks since this broke, a lot of folks have been bashing Ime Udoka. Like, what? You cheated on Nia Long? How can you cheat on Nia Long? It is Nia Long.
But I mean, whether it was Nia Long,
she is the new,
or some more.
I don't know who she is, but she's Nia Long.
But I mean, whether it was Nia Long or some more, like the whole idea of being dishonest and like creating such a path or such tracks where you're like cheating and being dishonest and deceitful and all that stuff, like that's just bad altogether. So yeah, shame on you, sir. Mm-hmm. But we were talking about a double standard.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So where we're going to be discussing this, and again, here at the GreatMines Show, we do love Nia Long. We wish her all the strength and everything during this troubling time. We are not trying to make fun of your pain or
at
anything. We are totally on your side. He was wrong with doing it. Whether y'all had an open relationship, that's between y'all.
Again, perspective matters,
right?
Because she probably like I already know about this.
Yeah, she could very well be like, I already know, but putting on a show for everybody to be like, you know what I mean? Because an open relationship isn't politically correct. You know what I mean? Still, even though it's 2022, and we have gay marriage currently.
For now.
All right. And so that means that, I think that we've gone past the notions of what a traditional relationship should look like, or if everyone is cut out for a traditional relationship. So, Nia Long, Ime Udoka, work through whatever it is that you guys need to work through. Power to you. We support you here at the GreatMines Show. But we love controversy, or as the English folks say, controversy. Controversy is how they say it over in Britain. So we're gonna stir the pot because that's what we do here. We got a spoon and a big spoon, and we're gonna stir the pot on this show.
Well, he's gonna stir the pot. I'm just gonna put a little seasoning in it while he stirs it. That's all.
Yeah. So this is what we're saying. Our whole thing is that shame on Black Twitter for having a double standard. Okay? Shame on you, Black Twitter. And we love Black Twitter. We're a part of Black Twitter. But spade is a spade. All right? We're going to call it like we see it. Shame on y'all, because where was all this vitriol, right, that we got for Ime Udoka, right? And he's like, oh, you cheated on Nia Long. But where was all that when Jada cheated on Will?
We were making jokes about it because she was in an entanglement. And it became, all right, so by the way, we have someone in the studio with us, and that person laughed because that's how sad it is. Because when she cheated, it was an entanglement.
It was an entanglement.
And she's just so out and open in public. And Will looking at her like,
look at August, though. Can you blame her?
But my point is, and I'm not saying that we should be bashing Jada Pinkett Smith. I'm not saying to bash her or to cancel her per se. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if you guys are going to sit here and condemn one person because he's a man, then why not the woman? And another thing that people have been saying. Where was all the
sympathy for Will? No one had sympathy for Will. This was before the slap. I could understand if we found out about the entanglement after the slap. And people would have been like, oh, go ahead,
no,
Jada.
They were like, oh, it makes sense now. It probably still makes sense now. I put two and two together.
Maybe.
But
point being,
could you imagine when Will walked on that stage, he imagined that it was August Alsina to keep my wife's name out your mouth, and he was imagining it was August Alsina when he
probably was. He probably was. He probably didn't have and he probably didn't have no animosity toward Chris Rock. It was just
They were having They were. But where was I was about to say something so bad. They were having the Chris Mariano moment before the award ceremony, and let me stop.
We love you, Riri. But like, yeah, no, where was it? That's what I want to know. Black Twitter. Where is it?
Well, so we talk about all the misogyny from the men or whatever, but last week we were talking about a situation with Black Twitter where it's okay to be a white gay man, but it's not okay to be a black gay man. And with Black Twitter, it's okay to sit. It is okay to comfort Neil alone. And they're quick to, I can't say his name, I'm going to try.
Email Doka.
They could bash him, but then when the roles are reversed, when the man's the one who is the victim in the scenario, or the protagonist and the woman's the antagonist, it's so different.
We have sympathy for her. We know because we're rooting for her.
Always rooting for her. And I think that her should win, but also think that he should win as well.
Yes. Everybody wins. Everybody should win.
Yeah.
Because if everybody wins, there are no losers. And the world has too many losers in it. Okay?
So that's my take on it.
I said it. Yeah.
So next on our list of things to discuss with you guys
all right,
is something that
little
we
fun
mentioned.
Stuff.
We mentioned to you guys last week. But I wanted to give you guys time to watch it before we added our 2 cents.
Right, and we wanted to watch it and everything. So now that there has been sufficient time for everyone to watch this movie,
you guys have had 2 weeks now.
Yeah, 2 full weeks. All right, to watch this movie.
So if you have not watched Hocus Pocus 2, in the past 2 weeks, then spoiler alert.
Spoiler alerts are abound. There are spoilers coming. All right, where are we at? Around 27 minutes. All right, around the 27-minute mark, you better pause it or skip to the end. All right, we don't know where the end is, so just skip forward. All right, the spoilers. All right, spoiler warning has been completed. So Hocus Pocus 2
starts off so freaking amazing. Have you seen it? All right,
great.
So no spoilers for you. From the beginning of this movie, it was magical. How the Disney castle turned into like this whole old, decrepit, haunted castle type thing. They even changed the angle of the view of the castle to make it so creepy. So Disney was on it from the very beginning. We see the Sanderson sisters as children. And when I tell you
Winifred is turning 16, just turned 16. So you would assume that Mary is probably 15 or 14, and then Sarah would be, like 10 or 12-ish, or some between 12 and 10.
Our audience is like playing charades in the background. But I'm not even going to tell the story as much as I want to give a review of how I felt about that moment.
Right.
These young versions of the sisters.
Yeah, they had
these actresses embodied these characters perfectly, spot on in every gesture. The inflections in their voice, their body language, the way they interacted with each other. They were so freaking spot on. It was amazing.
It definitely was. I thoroughly enjoyed the opening sequence that really it really established it told a different story, because again this movie told a different story than what was in the first one, but it was a continuation and it added so many layers. And that was the one thing that I kept saying when we were discussing pre-show, was that the second one just added layers on top of what was done. And it wasn't nothing that ruined it or anything else like that. That opening sequence really established the sisterhood and the sisterly bond that they had, and you really got
it's good that they established that, so that the resolution in the movie made more sense.
Yeah, and then but it also, like I said, it also fleshed out a lot of things from the past, in front that were all set up in the first movie. You get the basically the seed of Winifred and Billy's relationship that was planted in there. You see how she came into contact with Book.
The beginning of their relationship. Yeah, that was actually really fun to watch as well.
Right. And you see what you see all the factors that push them into their evil ways, in other words. And we see the fruit of that at the beginning of the other movie, but this laid the seeds to kind of explain why they were the way that they are, which was awesome. And I thought that it was very well done, for it being a sequel that came, damn near 30 years later.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because Coming to America was 20 years later.
Yeah.
These sequels that are coming back decades later and are
Coming to America came out before Hocus Pocus 1.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So it's older. But to my point, that all these decades later, they're coming back with a fresh take on these classic movies, and we all know sequels suck, but these sequels are actually really dope, amazing, and it's revived, it's refreshed, and it's still true to its origins. Mm-hmm. So, and this is me trying to skate around giving away too many details. With that being said, I will say something that we've spoken about already on the show, and I wanted to touch back on it, is our girls, Ginger Minge,
yes,
Cornbread, Jait, the snack,
G,
and give me the other girl's name. I can't think of her name.
Kimura Hall.
Her, I forgot about her. I always forget about her.
It's okay, she was the first one eliminated on her season. We forget about all of the girls that have been eliminated first on the season. RuPaul, you have enough drag queens to bring back all the ones.
How about that?
Who were eliminated first. There's an idea. All right, you done put on the best. Now take the worst of the worst and do something with it. There's your challenge.
That's a show for you
right there, RuPaul.
Because some of the times those girls are actually like really good. They just weren't good in that challenge.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see like all the girls that was chopped on the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
You have enough of them to do at least 2 seasons.
I would even say bring back the 2 that you chopped in one battle. I forgot the one girl, but I know the girl Dax exclamation point.
Who?
Yeah, see, exactly. That was there was a lip sync for your life where they both sucked and RuPaul sent them both home.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, see, nobody.
I would hate to be those girls.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was expecting a bigger role from the drag queen
and all the reports that were coming out,
and the way they were doing interviews.
Yeah, it made it seem like there was a lot more.
And honestly, I was just wanting to see, because when we saw them, they were on stage. Give me a performance by them or a competition back and forth, because the Sanderson sisters love singing. Apparently, that's something that they just love to do.
Mm-hmm.
So to have them going back and forth with these with the Drag Race girls, that would have been fun. That's not what we got, but for the small role that they had, they did it. They did good, and I was happy to see that.
Yep, it was great. That led into their interaction with the Sanderson sisters, led into the second musical number of the movie. Keep in mind that they had one musical number in the first movie, so they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna start off with one." Because when the Sanderson sisters came back, they literally came back.
Started with a music video.
Yes,
a whole freaking music video. The girls like, who are they performing for?
Yeah, and then they were like, that was hilarious.
That was funny.
A funny ass joke.
Because it was the same thing I was thinking, like, okay, they give them like a full performance, camera angles and movements, pans and tilts.
Uh-huh.
Who are they performing for? And then when a girl asks, it's like perfect, because that was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. And then Mary popped in her face, was like, "You," and then it was like, "Oh," it was great. They told them that they were witches because it's, and they tell another tale of a friendship between 3 young ladies, and one of them is a witch who her powers are manifesting on her 16th birthday. She's the virgin who lights the black flame candle after a magic shop owner gave her the candle as a gift.
So wait, because I don't want to tell the whole story. So because like you giving away the plot right now,
right?
So one thing,
spoilers.
I know, but not like the entire.
I'll reveal.
One of the things that I enjoyed about this iteration of Hocus Pocus is in the first Hocus Pocus, they were already coming back to the world after a century or so. So they had to readjust to and get reacquainted with things. So things were like so foreign to them to see electricity and stuff like that. So to have them going for 30 years and come back 30 years later, and so much in technology has changed to where things that we call normal every day is still like brand new. And I can imagine even scary to them to see how much has changed.
Yeah, one of the things that a vlogger pointed out in one of the review videos that I watched was that if you look at them in the first Hocus Pocus and look at their brooms, okay, Winifred had a broom, the regular broom, okay.
Sarah had a mop,
and Mary had a vacuum cleaner. If you
that was not rehearsed.
It wasn't. If you look at what they had in Hocus Pocus 2,
Winifred had a broom.
She did have a regular looking witch's broom. All right.
Sarah had a Swiffer.
Swiffer wet jet. Yep.
So that was her mop.
New mop. All right. New mop.
And Mary had the Roombas.
Roombas.
Yeah, the Roombas, vacuums that you just said. They have a mind of their own. That was too hilarious. So now it looks like this little hoverboard. She's like flying on those.
Flying on a little hoverboard. It was hilarious, and I like that little juxtaposition to what they had in the first one, updated now to what we have. Because who's buying a regular mop with the strings nowadays? Who's mopping with that?
Me.
It's okay. It's okay.
Take me to Walmart.
We get you a Swiffer.
I want the wet jet, the purple kind.
And so that was a cool little thing. What else? There were so many good things about this movie. Lots of LGBT Easter eggs was spread out throughout this movie. Lots of callbacks to the previous movie. They even were showing the Gary and Penny Marshall scene.
Yes, from the original movie.
From the original movie.
They happen to have walked by a television with that scene playing. So that was actually really cool to see that they did that.
Right. It was a lot of tongue-in-cheek nods to the old movie. There were a lot of funny jokes. I mean, it was genuinely funny.
I'm legit going to put that on the TV after we're done. Legit.
It was great. It was great. So we shout out the young ladies who did the younger version of the Sanderson sisters. They were absolutely phenomenal. So what do you think, sir? Do you think that it did it well or that it did it don't?
It did it well.
It did it well.
Do it again. I don't know. Like Disney has always had a magic, but they're on to something right now. Like I'm not gonna say they could do no wrong, but when it comes down to like the movies that they've been producing, it's like Disney's on point. They have the magic sauce right now with their properties. They have the magic sauce. So I feel like if they wanted to do a part 3 in 2 years, they could. And it'd be just as good.
Right. Right. Let's hope that they don't wait another 20, 30 years because.
But so here's the thing: if they did wait 20 years, I'm not gonna say 30, but they did wait about 20 years, which is horrible if they did. The original Sanderson sisters, who at the end of the movie transitions into another phase, it's possible for them to come back, but 30 years from now, unfortunately, our queens will be gone. Now, the way they set it up, these three new girls could easily fall into that because we were having conversations about the Sanderson sisters being evil or good or whatever like that. And I think it's just a matter of perspective as to who the villain and the hero is, honestly. So these girls could be good witches and the story could be inverted some kind of way because with Hocus Pocus, we were all rooting for the villains of the movie in both movies. We were like attached to them. Like these new girls in this show in the movie was like, oh, they cute, but we're here to watch the Sanderson sisters. So I feel like
the movie does, like, kudos to the director too, who was the original director of Hocus Pocus. Kudos to her because she did a very, very good job of really allowing the audience to do that because she knew that the audience was so invested in the Sanderson sisters that she gave us a whole lot more. They had a whole lot more screen time in this movie than they did on the first one.
Yeah.
Because you have to figure the first 25 minutes, the first 25 minutes of the movie is all about the new kids and establishing their story and everything else.
And the way but then even down to the way they tied them into the Sanderson sisters' history,
right?
They like it makes sense. It just makes sense and it works. It flows. Yeah. It's campy, but it's not too campy. It's like it's a classic already.
Yes,
it is a classic.
Certainly is. I can't rave enough about it. Definitely going to put this on the list of quintessential Halloween movies.
Yes,
to watch during the 31 days of October. You gotta watch Hocus Pocus and Hocus Pocus 2 now. Yeah. Like it is a package deal.
It is a movie that stands on its own, even though it's a sequel. This movie could literally stand on its own and be just as good. But since we're talking about projects and things like that and classics,
instant classic alert! Instant classic alert! Go and buy your copy today, folks. That's right. Today you can get your copy of A Life of Lust, written by the King himself, King Kevyn. Right here, that beautiful face. That beautiful face right there wrote this beautiful, beautiful book. All right. Tell them about it.
So in this book, I get deep. I talk about, and I do this all the time whenever we
bring words. With words.
That's usually what goes into a book. Words.
Well, you said you go deep, so I'm just making sure. With words.
Buy the book.
King Kevyn. Kevyn him back. Kevyn him back out. That right there. Right there. Right there.
Buy the book. No. I share a lot of intimate moments. I go deep in these stories to talk about things that I myself had a hard time accepting, some struggles I've experienced, and how I faced and overcame most of those things. And, even being transparent about things that maybe I'm still trying to work through. But we talk about it in the book, and it gives a different perspective beyond just the face or the body or the paintings and photos or whatever. It definitely gives you an intimate look into my heart. So,
and I mean the show, like all the topics that we touched on in the show, Marvel's in there.
It is.
All right.
It is.
If you like Marvel's in there. You want to know how it affected it? You want to know how it affects people's lives? Read this book. All right. You talk about, we talked about affairs. There's affairs in there.
Plenty of those in here.
All right. There's affairs in there. We talk about feelings and stuff like that. There's plenty of feelings in there. Okay. All right. talk about, movies. There's movies in there. All right.
What else you got?
There's all types of things.
I can guarantee you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to be upset, you're going to be tickled, you're going to be turned on, all that. You even going to have some church, even if you're atheist. It's just some uplifting moments. That's the point.
And it's a great read. So go buy yours today at KevynM.com. Right down there. All right.
All right. That's been good knowing you guys. Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Trevor Noah is leaving the Daily Show.
Trevor Noah is leaving the Daily Show. Sad day.
Yeah. And he's like, I get where he's coming from about it not being a sad thing. It's a good thing for him to elevate and give opportunities to others. But Trevor.
I know.
Trevor.
We just got to know you, guy. Shucks.
Like, I've always enjoyed the show, but it was like during the pandemic, I really like. And now
Trevor Noah was there with his South African accent. He's South African. They all got him. Apparently.
But anyway, time for us to go. Anything you want to say to the people?
Make sure you go register to vote.
Yeah.
All right. Big time elections coming up. Register to vote. Know where you got to go and get there early and take 10 people with you. All right. And